The Pennine Way is the toughest and wildest long-distance walk in England.
For those brave enough to attempt it, it can be 268 miles of mud, sweat and tears.
It's grueling, but the rewards are amazing.
Just look at the beauty of it. It's magnificent.
The Pennine Way was Britain's first national trail. It's a journey along the elevated backbone of England, a major physical challenge, a walk to escape the buzz of modern life.
And now the Pennine Way has reached its own milestone. It's 50 years old.
In this series, I'm seeing the Pennines in a very different way. But I'm also looking at life along the trail, just how much has changed since the first walkers set out on the Pennine Way all those years ago. They say everything is within walking distance if you have the time. And when the landscape is as stunning as the North Pennines, it's worth savouring every moment. On this part of my Pennine Way journey, I'm exploring Teesdale and the hills of the North Pennines, an area of outstanding natural beauty. The route follows the River Tees and passes High Force Waterfall. It then enters a land of breathtaking views before reaching its highest and most demanding point, Cross Fell. I'm Paul Rose, and I've been lucky enough to explore all over the planet. But the Pennine Way is new territory for me. I'm not walking every mile of the route, but I'm looking forward to sampling some of the best bits. The start of the Pennine Way is now 130 miles behind me, and I'm in County Durham. But before I head for the hills, I'm taking a little detour for some culture. This is the Bowes Museum in Barnard Castle, purpose-built in the 19th century to house an eclectic mix of art. But I've not come to see the Canalettos or Turners, but some other works that give a clue as to what lies ahead on my Pennine Way journey. Hey Emma, thanks for bringing me behind the scenes, but what have we got?
Well, these are two watercolours from a series of 35 that Cleveland artist Benjamin Heslop painted, which follows the River Tees right from the source down through the landscape and is a record of all the different viewpoints and beauty spots along the river.
I mean, this one is absolutely beautiful. This is Cross Fell, you know, the highest, wildest part of the walk, and it's obviously been done on a lovely day. It's dry, you know, the heather looks so good, but look at this threat of cloud up there giving a hint of what's going to happen.
Yes,
something
that the weather could change and everything could be quite different very soon.
This painting in particular makes me want to do the sort of Alice in Wonderland thing and get in there.
So I've got something else to show you here. This is a view of the Tees on a slightly larger scale.
Oh yes, wow, that's lovely.
And this is High Force. This is one of the best known locations on the Tees.
Well, it's absolutely beautiful. This is the sort of most significant waterfall.
Yes, it's one of the largest waterfalls in England, and it's drawn artists to it. Turner painted here during the Napoleonic Wars when he couldn't travel to Europe. He spent some time capturing some of the beauty spots in England.
This is certainly a place that I can't afford to miss.
No, I mean, it's definitely one, if you've got a few days in the area, it's definitely one of the places you want to get to because it's just so impressive.
It'll be a few miles yet before I come face to face with High Force. Before then, I'm following some famous footsteps.
Alfred Wainwright, who wrote so many influential books about walking, wasn't a fan of the Pennine Way. Too much mud and too many bogs, he said. But this section that runs right next to the Tees, he loved it and described it as a walk of near perfection. High praise indeed.
The Tees starts as a trickle on Cross Fell, but it soon becomes a real force of nature. The string of waterfalls and fast-flowing water near Middleton in Teesdale are a real challenge for canoeists and kayakers. But for Claire O'Hara, this is relatively easy water. After all, she's a multiple world and British freestyle kayaking champion. She's volunteered to show me the ropes. And as I head up the creek, I'm holding onto my paddle for dear life.
Hey, all right, Claire?
Hiya, Paul. How you doing?
All right, well, I'm very happy to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Because I know I look the part with all the gear on, but I'm no kayaker.
Well, don't worry, because today we're going to show you everything that you're going to need to know, and then we're going to head out onto the river.
All right, well, I know I'm in good hands because you are a world champion, but I do have that sense of anxiety about today. So I was walking up, I was thinking, look at this.
Claire's planning on taking me down a waterfall called Low Force. With a drop of 18 feet, it looks more like a mini Niagara.
Be nervous, be excited.
Yes.
But don't worry too much, because we're going to go through the basics. We're going to build it up progressively from the easy stuff and then progressively get harder, and then we'll finish it off with the waterfall if you feel up to it. Okay, so you're going to be sat in the front, so you're going to have like bird's eye view of everything that's going on.
Okay.
You're going to take all the hits first and foremost. Right. I'm going to be sat in the back, I'm going to do the steering, so you're going to be like the engine, provide the power.
Okay, deal.
I'll kind of steer us a little bit, and yeah, we'll just blast through it, but we're going to have a practice first before we go for the big stuff.
All right.
Shuffle away, Paul. Fabulous. All right.
This is my warm-up, but I'm already getting a proper taste of the Tees. Claire says going down Low Force is so good, but will be so brief, I might have to do it more than once. Crikey!
I like the idea. You do all the thinking, and I'll do my best to provide some power. What do you reckon?
Sounds like a great plan.
Brain and brawn, okay. All right.
You feeling ready?
Yeah.
Right, let's go. Let's do it.
Now there's no holding back. The big waterfall awaits. The force will soon be with me.
Right, nice and powerful. Go, go, go.
Claire, thank you so much. Wow. That was just the best day's paddling ever. You are definitely a world champion. Thank you.
I love the kayaking, but I'm pretty pleased I didn't end up going down High Force by mistake.
It's from here on the Pennine Way that you get the absolute best view of the most impressive waterfall in England. And it's worth doing the walk just for this moment. It's got so much power and energy. And I can see why it was such an inspiration for those early artists.
High Force is the mightiest of the waterfalls on the Tees. At 21 metres high, it's a bit of a giant. But it's only here because of the remarkable geology of this stretch of the Pennine Way. More than 300 million years ago, this land would have been underwater near the equator. Since then, it's moved a few thousand miles to the north, been ripped apart by titanic forces, and ground down by glaciers. It's epic stuff. Geologist Elizabeth Pickett knows all about the forces that forge this landscape and how to read the rocks.
Hey, you're right, Elizabeth.
Hi there. Hi.
What's going on here?
Well, I'm just doing a quick sketch of this geological feature around us here.
Oh, yes.
The Wind Sill's this amazing thick layer of rock which underlies a lot of the north of England, but you see it particularly brilliantly here in Teesdale. It's tens of metres thick and it's really, really hard.
And how did it get here?
Well, it was actually molten rock 295 million years ago, and it came up from deep in the earth, and it actually rose up through existing layers of rock, limestone, sandstone and shale, which make up much of the North Pennines. And this actually spread out between these layers, and then it cooled down and solidified. But then hundreds of millions of years of erosion have taken a lot of those layers off, and this is now exposed at the surface.
Scientists believe the molten wind sill cooked some of the limestone, turning it into a kind of marble, which now supports some highly specialised and delicate plants.
It's a nice feeling, isn't it? I mean, you have these big layers of rocks that provide the right sort of chemistry, I suppose, for the soil, and then the right plants and insects and flowers, and then of course the birds, and the whole feeling of this ecosystem, these lovely layers of building blocks.
With all these big forces at play, you'd think this is a robust landscape. But Teesdale is home to one of Britain's most vulnerable habitats. Hay meadows packed with grasses, wildflowers and insects were once a common sight.
Summertime meadow. Deep carpet of lush green grass starred with flowers. The stars here are marguerites, but you might also find dandelions, buttercups, clover, thistle and scores of others.
Now less than 4 square miles of traditional upland hay meadow remains in the UK, and 40% of what's left is in the North Pennines. Rebecca Barrett is part of a team trying to reverse that decline, collecting seeds and working with farmers to restore hay meadows to their former glory.
At first glance it seems yellow, but once you take a closer look, there's all sorts of things in amongst here as well as the yellow. There's this beautiful clover here, and then these lovely little white eyebrights they're called, and the reason they're called that because when you look inside they've got this beautiful little yellow centre, and I think that's the thing about a meadow like this, the closer you look the more you see.
Yes.
It's not uniform at all.
Hay meadows started to disappear after the Second World War.
One of the greatest problems of the world is to provide food for its ever-increasing population. To meet this problem, man has mechanized by means of the motorized tractor practically every farm problem of today.
Farming was in the midst of a revolution. Labour-intensive methods were being swept away. For many farmers, the arrival of the tractor was a godsend. It made so many tasks so much easier.
The rapid handling of hay is a matter of great importance.
Fast-growing grasses were planted and the carpet of colour faded away. We lost an ecosystem that we'd taken for granted.
What's the predominant smell?
That really intense sweet
Yes.
smell, that's actually from the red clover.
Ah. Yeah, you see.
Yeah, and be careful because bees really love this as well. You don't want to inhale a bee because each one of these is made up of separate little flowers. It's a great place for bumblebees with very long tongues to feed because bumblebees have different tongue lengths, and some of the rarer bumblebees have longer tongues, and we know that meadows like this are a really vital habitat for some of our rarest bumblebees.
It's great that colour is returning to Teesdale, but I'm swapping these meadows for the more rugged terrain of the North Pennines.
Wow, this place is beautiful.
This is High Cup Nick, a geological jewel of the British Isles.
That's the thing with the Pennine Way. A little bit of effort and you get these huge, fabulous rewards. And it comes as a real surprise because when you walk across the uplands at the top, there's no real hint of it. And just there, woof, this opens up. You're here at High Cup Nick. Thank heavens for the glaciers. You know, 11,000 years ago, this was a whopping great glacier grinding along here, and up here would have been an ice cap. Then it all melted away, and as it's melted away, it's ground away, leaving this hard, beautiful, upright wind sill, which of course resists the power of the glacier. We've got a classic flat bottom, vertical side valley, a green and pleasant land that still retains the energy of the glacier period. It's just unbelievably beautiful. It's no surprise that for many of the Pennine Way walkers, this is the high point of the walk. Well worth the effort.
Views like these are very weather dependent, and on a long distance hike, the elements can make or break your trip. But on this part of the Pennine Way, it's not just the rain that can spoil your day. This dense, rolling mass of cloud is a sign that the helm wind is going to blow. It's a phenomenon unique to the hills around Cross Fell, and is the only wind in Britain to have been given a name. And for those who've felt its full force, it's a terrifying experience.
You can hear it howling in the distance, yeah. You know, it's hard to describe, it is like a howling noise. You literally can't stand up. No. And if you go out in a vehicle or anything like, you've got to watch the doors don't get ripped off.
And do you get any damage on the farm?
Oh yeah, we often get walls blown down. This barn used to stand in our yard.
Right here?
Yep. Yeah. And it's about 3 o'clock one morning, my wife says, that barn's come down. I says, get away. I said, I never heard nought. And you know, the next morning when we got up, when it was daylight, that was what we saw.
Oh right,
Absolutely.
holy smokes.
Yeah. And the walls would be about 3 foot thick. And
These walls are 3 feet thick?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. That was what was left of it.
Well, what about livestock in here?
Yeah, there was a couple of yows with 2 lambs in this barn. They perished, they got squashed by the stone.
Right.
But if you look on the next slide,
yeah,
there was 2 cows in this byre here.
Oh yes.
And they walked out through that doorway next morning, no bother. They've been protected by the wooden loft up above, yeah. You know, there was about 250 tonnes of stone led away from this job when we cleared the spot up.
But why is the helm wind so destructive? Meteorologist Gordon Manley was determined to find the answer. Gordon believed in working at the cutting edge of science. In the 1930s, he sheltered in a wooden hut on the slopes leading to Cross Fell and recorded all that the weather could throw at him. And the lessons he learned influenced a new generation of forecasters.
All right then, John. Any
Hi, Paul.
chance of the helm wind?
Well, look at this. Anemometer cups are virtually stationary.
Okay.
I think it's pretty unlikely today. You know, we're averaging 2.6 miles an hour, so we'd probably say there's no helm wind likely today.
But how does the helm wind form? What is it?
So you're looking at physics and you're looking at meteorology together. So high pressure to the north, and you've also got an inversion above these hilltops. Say 900 metres probably this hillside. There's probably then a lot of cloud across the top of the hill on a day when you're going to get the helm wind. So you could probably say we'd be standing in cloud, generally speaking, if there was a helm wind about to blow. Above that, it may just be an inversion about 2,000 feet above the mountaintop, and say another 700 metres above the mountaintop, an inversion because of this high pressure which I'm talking about from Scandinavia. That inversion basically acts as a lid to the wind, to the air rushing in.
So above the summit of Cross Fell, there's a thick layer of stable wind.
There is, yeah.
And in that gap,
It's the gap that counts.
the whole of this east-northeast wind
Yeah.
has got to squeeze through
It
it.
squeezes through it. So any air, any wind that's coming in off the North Sea, for example, because you've reached this mountaintop, is then squeezed into that gap. And that's the whole problem. So it then accelerates down this steep escarpment, down into the Eden Valley, accelerating as it goes, maybe 50 or 60 miles an hour.
Gordon's research in this most inhospitable of landscapes shaped much of what we now know about our weather systems.
Have we got any better at forecasting the helm wind since Gordon Manley's time?
You know, there's very little warning really of this helm wind kicking in, and it's very difficult, well, virtually impossible to forecast sometimes. You can see the criteria might be correct, and you could perhaps signpost the possibility of some strong and gusty winds down the western side of Cross Fell tomorrow.
Okay.
You could say that.
Yeah.
But to actually go, hey, tomorrow's definitely going to be a helm wind,
Yeah.
very tricky.
Armed with John's insight about the helm wind, I've decided to make an attempt on the Pennine Way's most daunting spot, Cross Fell.
I mean, the weather's perfect at the moment, but I need to get my head down on this long walk because I'm not quite sure what's going to happen.
At almost 3,000 feet above sea level, Cross Fell is the highest point in England outside the Lake District.
You know, when I'm on my big trips to Antarctica and Greenland and heaven knows where else, I'm highly tuned up, thinking about eat before I get hungry, drink before I get thirsty, rest before I get exhausted. And it'd be easy to take this for sort of granted. It's England to think, oh, I'll be all right, but you've got to stop. You've got to stop and rest and sort of keep something in reserve, which is exactly what I'm doing.
Crossfell is an isolated place with a fearsome reputation, which makes it a strange spot to find building work going on. Years of storms have taken their toll on a shelter at the summit of the fell. But as the route celebrates its 50th birthday, this pile of stones is getting a new lease of life.
All right, Laurie, what's it like working at altitude then, mate?
It's good fun, yeah. Yeah, the views are okay, so.
No kidding. Must be one of the best work sites in Britain.
Fantastic, yeah, it's not a bad office.
Laurie Lambeth and his team of wallers have a big job on their hands. In such an exposed spot, they have to work quickly while the weather's good.
This is just as hard as it looks. It's finding the right stone, and a complete amateur like me, I'm going to end up picking up, you know, loads and loads of stones to find the right one, which would limit my productivity on wall building.
You see how you've got the face of the stone there, you've got too sharp an angle on it.
I do,
You're
yeah.
trying to straighten that up.
I am.
You turn the stone over and put it on something hard,
Yep.
and then you can shape the ends up that way as well, and you can start to get your face on it.
Oh, blimey. Shall I try and give him a bit of an angle in there?
I don't think it's looking too bad at that.
There's a lot more to this than knocking lumps off a rock.
You've done this before, haven't you?
Us early tool users. Long arms, small brain.
That's it, yeah. You getting that lined in okay?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you'll be the better judge than me.
It has been known for not every stone to break how you want it to.
This shelter is also providing jobs. With the help of funding from local agencies, Laurie is training the next generation of wallers. His apprentices will soon be applying their craft all over the north.
It's absolutely great. I mean, I was an apprentice myself, not a waller, but I was a tool-making apprentice at Ford's, you know, and it was the making of me, being able to do something practical and physical, and that got me going.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is just what these fellas are doing.
And you have to admire their tenacity. A short while after our filming, what should arrive but the Helm wind?
Just another sunny day on top of Crossfell, yeah?
It's proof that the Pennines is a hostile environment, a place not to be taken lightly.
What does it feel like to work on projects like this that you know have got a lifespan of hundreds of years?
It's nice. I mean, I've lived in the local area my whole life, which is why we're really taking a lot of pride in doing it and making a nice job. And now you've added to it as well, so...
Well, hang on, let me just check to see if I really have added. Well, it's lined up, Laurie, I can say that much.
Yep.
And it's about the right height. Are they actually going to stay there?
That's looking good, yeah, we'll keep that there. Well done.
The completed shelter is a work of art, a fitting tribute to the highest point of the Pennines. Whether you're walling or walking, the Pennine Way is a tough test. For most people, completing the route once is more than enough. But there are those who go that extra mile. Nick McElveen is no stranger to putting one foot in front of the other. He used to be a postie, but now Nick and the Pennine Way are inseparable.
I love starting off in Derbyshire, fishing in Scotland, tasting all those beers in between.
Nick's on his 19th attempt of the Pennine Way. He's completed it a staggering 15 times, but it's not always been smooth going. In the early days, he had as many failures as successes.
I failed on the first one, and then at one time I was running 3-all, and then I got to 4-3, and I thought that was it. I'm not doing it again.
Yeah, you were ahead.
I was ahead, and then I didn't do it for a few years, and then nostalgia kicks in, and then you do it, and then I found getting fit for that became an annual occurrence of I'm off to do that and get fit and crack on with it.
So this becomes your personal annual fitness camp?
It does, yes. Pennine Way boot camp.
And did when you did the first one, did you ever think that there would be another 15 ahead of you?
Not at all, no. I think I was that tired, I'd never ever envisaged doing it again.
Yeah. But can you see the day when you will stop?
I think so, yeah. I think it's getting harder sometimes mentally.
Nick's determination is admirable. His holiday hikes have clocked up more than 4,000 miles, the equivalent of walking from the Pennines to the Himalayas.
Is it possible to answer the question as to why do you do this, Nick?
I don't think so. No, it's become an annual challenge.
Great.
But it's an absolutely fantastic walk. I mean, if you look at the scenery up here, you know, it's England at its best.
Leaving Nick to complete his hike, I'm on my way to a place that's a welcome sight for many doing the Pennine Way.
Hey, this looks great.
This remote spot isn't someone's home, it's a mountain refuge.
Oh, yes. Wow, what a great place. I walked in here fully expecting it to feel a bit damp and a bit cold or miserable, but it's beautiful. It's dry, it's warm, and it has a sense of being a real safe haven, lovely cosy. And it's called Greg's Hut, named after this great man here, John Gregory.
John died in an alpine climbing accident in 1968 after falling on his ice axe. But with the insurance money, John's friends and family restored this old lead miner's building. Now, the Greg's Hut and the Mountain Bothies Associations maintain it in his memory.
This hut, and John Gregory would be so proud of it, has actually saved lives. People that have been in trouble nearby, the mountain rescue services use this. They can land a helicopter here, and this can be a sort of safe refuge for people that are really in trouble. So what a great legacy for John Gregory.
4 miles from the nearest village, and with no toilet facilities or power, it's Spartan but cosy.
Come and have a look. This is the setup that I've seen all over the world, from the French Alps to the North Cascades to South America to Greenland. There's this raised sleeping platform with wood on, so it's nice and warm, and you can get sort of 4 or 5 people here quite comfortably, or 10 people very warm but not quite so comfortable. There's a stove here. This looks like it's a wood burning and coal stove, and by some sort of miracle I've arrived here and there's some coal and some wood already in place, so you can't beat that. I've come up, going to have a warm night and didn't even have to carry it.
I was lucky. You best bring your own fuel if you want a guaranteed warm night.
It's been a great long day, and it's wonderful to pull into a hut like this that's warm, dry and cosy, have a belly full of really good food, get the fire on and get some sleep ready for the next day. So good night.
Next time on my Pennine Way journey, I make a remarkable discovery near Hadrian's Wall.
That is a 2,000-year-old writing tablet.
And I'll be getting up close and personal with the British Army.
I'm on exercise with the Grenadier Guards. They're going up the valley to take out the enemy. And I have a feeling things are about to get a little... Ah, there we go.